Well, good morning, everyone, and welcome to another day here at Bronie's desk. And I know I announced last week that Ben will only be coming on once a month now, much to my broken-hearted disappointment and everyone else's down here, because we absolutely adore Ben and he has so much valuable information that even though we've heard it lots of times, our clients haven't necessarily, particularly our new ones. Anyway, Ben wasn't able to do his call earlier in September. So I begged and begged and begged and begged him to come back on to answer all these questions that I've had sitting here for a month waiting for him. So because we had an extra week in September, so that really has thrown me out with things. Now, before we get started, before I hand it over to Ben has asked somebody's I need to mute. Someone is not muted.
That tells me something.
I don't know who's not muted.
Can you hear that?
Yep. Okay. Now, and it's still coming on. Oh, is that you, Ben? Anyway, what Ben has asked me more than once is because nobody lets us know the results of all the questions you ask him, and if you've actually had some success, whether it's yourself or a client, and he is not sure if anything was happening and whether his time was of value to us. And I said, oh, yes, it is. It's very valuable to us here down under. And yes, people are getting results. So, guys, to keep Ben coming back, we do really need for you to, if we get time, share some of the results you've actually got from taking Ben's advice, or that your clients have done. So please think about that, particularly in the future, because Ben loves to get the feedback. And I must admit, a lot of other people do too, because, oh, well, he said to do that. Did that work for that person? And people do actually, a lot of people watch my podcasts, my Zooms. So, and they go back to it even a year later, they go back to find it. And so it's great to have those results there for people to hear as well. So I've sent Ben all the questions. Now, Ben, do you want to start with what I sent you, or would you like me to ask you, Karen?
Yeah, but let me just add to what you just said.
Okay, I will.
Yeah, so to clarify, Bronie asked me to do this. I think it was when you asked me to do this one here today. The second one, I said, I don't know. I don't know that I'm having much of an impact because I'm saying the same thing over and over and over again. I just repeat myself all the time. And, if you haven't gotten it by now, what's the point if people haven't gotten it? And you said to me that people want to hear it from me, and I totally respect that, and I have no problem with that. But I want everybody to understand, this is not complicated. We make it complicated because we abdicate responsibility, and we let some authority, whether it's a government in your country, it's a government. In our country, it's a medical model, but it's the same idea. We give up our power and say, you fix me. And they'll take it. And they'll say it's complicated because that's how they make a living. I want everybody to understand two things. Number one, it's not complicated. And number two, we can do this. We can all do this. There was a gal who's been on the call now, and Yvonne, right? Is Yvonne on the call today?
Yes, she's here.
And Yvonne is a classic example. Where's Yvonne?
I'll spotlight her.
Spotlight Yvonne. Yvonne is like a new woman. And Yvonne, when I was it a month, I don't know, 6 months ago. How long ago was it? 3 months ago.
You have to unmute yourself, Yvonne.
Yvonne is out in the outback somewhere.
There you go.
Hi, Yvonne.
March. Hello.
It was March. Okay, so it was like 6 months ago. And when I saw you, I said, number one, I said, okay, so I can see there's something going on. You didn't look sad. You did look sad, but it wasn't you. Your body looked sad, like your face, everything looked sad. And so I was like, I know we're going to make you a case study. I probably even told you that. I probably even said that. I'm going to show you how easy this is. and how anybody can do it. I want everybody listening to watch this. This is how easy it is. Don't let them lie to you. Don't let them make you think you're a dummy and you can't figure it out. It's not complicated. Stuff gets into the body, i.e. the blood, and you're off to the disease races. That's it. Figure out how things are getting into the blood and stop that stream of toxicity and give the body the raw materials it needs. Don't forget SMEPs, spiritual, mental, and emotional. They're always going to be involved. And anything, I believe even stage 4 cancer, but forget that because that's not for most of us. The chronic degenerative diseases, the diabetes, the heart disease, the autoimmune problems, the skin problems, the movement disorders, the dementias, the Parkinson's, they're all reversible, all of them. And you just have to believe it. Number one, you got to believe. You got to not think this is just hokey. I'm not going to do it. This is silly. My mother's making me do it. My wife's making me do it. My husband's making whatever. You got to believe. And then you just have to understand a few little simple basics, how toxicity gets into the blood, how to stop the toxicity from getting into the blood, and how to strengthen and build the body back with nutrition. It's not complicated. And not only that, there's no drugs that can do it. There's no surgeries that can do it. There is no magical remedy in the doctor's bag of tricks that can do it. It doesn't exist. There's no high blood pressure medicine that will help you with your cardiovascular system. There's no pharmacology for Alzheimer's. There's nothing for autoimmunity that will reverse autoimmunity. Nothing. So what's the definition of insanity? Bronie, what is the definition of insanity? Doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. It's insane. And it's so simple on the other hand. And so Yvonne, you look gorgeous, healthy, strong, like a new woman. Like a new woman. And it probably started right away, right? Didn't it start almost immediately?
Yes, I did. And I got the book. And I've been out in the garden every day for the last couple of weeks, pulling out weeds.
That's beautiful. And you look great. And you look strong. And you look happy. And that's that's our birthright, you guys. That's what's possible for all of us. We deserve it. We all deserve. We're God's children. He didn't put us here to suffer. Suffering is not part of the program. We made it part of the program. So that's the message that I want to just tell everybody. And I felt like Bronie said that I wanted feedback. It's not so much that I want feedback. I just want to know that I'm making a difference. That these ideas are landing, if you will, because I like to talk, but I don't like to talk that much. So, but it's not just you. It's not just you, Ben, as I was saying. I myself personally have heard these questions people have asked and your responses, but I've never heard back from some of these people because they're not my clients, whether they actually have had success with following your protocol. Now, the thing is, the key is following the protocol to a T, because I always have success, and that's why
off track.
Well, I take pains. I take great pains to tell you how it works. I never say just take this, take that. I always want you to know how it works. Why? So you can be the powerful one. I don't want to be the powerful one here. You're the powerful one. So you can change your body. So you can make micro adjustments as they need to be made. And that's what any good healthcare professional is supposed to be doing. Any good quality healthcare professional wants you to do it. And it's not about me. I don't want to be telling you what to do. I want to be telling you how it's happening so you can do it. And that's really, really important to me, that that everybody understands how this whole thing works. So you want to do a couple, and we'll just
now I just want to ask you Karen's question first, and so that I'll just remove Yvonne from the spotlight because I know she doesn't like to be spotlighted all the time. But Karen's room had this question. How do we deal with, pardon my pronunciation, Impetigo?
Impetigo?
Impetigo.
Impetigo. And this is for Karen or from
Karen's room. You know, the big team there, the room with 26 people or more in it.
Oh, wow. Well, impetigo is usually kids. It happens to babies or children.
Yes, it's funny that she asked that question, and I have grandchildren on the Sunshine Coast. No, yeah, on the Sunshine Coast, but on the Gold Coast as well. And one of them's at preschool. And when I saw her, I was up there taking my mother-in-law to Brisbane the other week for an appointment, and I saw her and I said, "Oh, what's this on your chin?" Now, they had no idea. She had this sore on the chin, right? And it's exactly what Karen asked about, but they didn't know that. They said, "We don't know what it is, where it's come from. It just came up. We thought it was from her dummy." And so made her throw the dummy away because she's 3 and she hasn't had it since. So it was a good excuse to get rid of the dummy. And then when Karen asked this question, and I looked it up because mostly to try and get my tongue around that word, I'm going, that's what she's got. and it's one of the typical places that it gets is from daycare.
Impetigo it's a contagious infection.
Like a school sore.
Like what?
Often also known as a school sore.
Yes, because it passes from kid to kid. There's a couple ways of looking at it. First of all, it's very easy to treat. They give you antibiotics, basically, oral or topical. The problem with oral is you'll disturb your GI, and I'll tell you why that's a special problem with impetigo. But topical, they can give you topical antibiotics too. That's probably the best way to do it. Whenever you have a bacterial infection, that implies that your immune system is somehow compromised. So you want to it could be like just literally somebody passed it on, but it could also be something to do with the immune system, a compromised immune system. Now, given the way kids eat today, even what we consider healthy for kids, it makes perfect sense that the kids would have some kind of immune compromise. So that's something to focus on. If I don't know who this person is, if it's a kid or
someone in Karen's
does the kid get ear infections? Does the kid snotty or mucousy? Is he clogged up? Does he have any digestive problems? Those are all questions to ask. But
Karen's going to tell you.
And hi Ben, and we do appreciate you for coming on. This is also that we can show all our new people, even though we know.
I'm having a hard time hearing you, Karen.
Oh, can you hear me now?
Yes, I hear you better now.
Okay, so I'll just say we do appreciate you, and this is just to show our new people because we know and take in everything that you say. The person is a older person.
The person who has the impetigo?
Yeah.
Then almost certainly there's a compromised immune system there. I imagine he's not like hanging out real closely with other people who have impetigo, probably. So that's more than likely compromised immune system. Now, there are antibiotics that you can use, as I said. I would personally use a topical. Gentamicin is one of the ones they use. And I see Lisa here. I don't know if she ever treated impetigo, but usually they'll give a topical or oral antibiotic. But if it's an elderly person, the odds are pretty good there's a compromised immune system too. And that's important because with a compromised immune system, he's more prone towards shingles. He's more prone towards other kinds of bacterial infections or fungal infections for that matter. And he's probably got dysbiosis or disturbances in his gut bacteria that could lead to all kinds of health challenges. And that's one of the things I want everybody to understand here, particularly down under. Diseases don't show up in a vacuum. They're part of an entire spectrum of what we call comorbid symptoms, other breakdowns. And I know I give this example before, but I'll give it again because it's really, really instructive. You have a white canvas, Bob Ross, the painter. You got a white canvas, you put a dot in the middle, that's just a dot in the middle. That doesn't tell you anything. But he put another line, and all of a sudden, okay, it looks like something. In the third line, you got a mountain. The fourth line, you got a landscape. Fifth line, you got a river. And so you got to collect the dots so you can connect the dots. You've got to accumulate data points, sample points. The fidelity of any picture or image depends on the amount of points, pixels, that it has. The more pixels you have, the clearer the picture. Now, you don't need a lot of pixels because there's not a lot of things that go wrong. There's not a lot of different ways the body breaks down. It's pretty generic. So you just need a couple. So with this guy, always ask about the intestine because that's the seat of your immune system right there. Does he have intestinal problems? Does he have any circulatory issues? Issues with sludgy blood, as we call it, or dirty blood? Does he have any cardiovascular issues? Any other skin issues? There's all kinds of questions you could ask that will give you dots in your painting or in your canvas so that an image can start to arise. And that's always important. So, when people say, oh, what do I do about my cataracts or my glaucoma or this weird thing that's showing up on my skin, I want to hear other points. It's a lot easier to deal with a problem if you can start to see other points. Now, certain things are going to be the same for everybody, like eye diseases, like glaucoma, but other issues that show up that seem to be mysterious, like you can't figure out where they're coming from, you want to get a bunch of sample points, data points, so you can get a picture.
Does that help you, Karen? And I brought
Impetigo antibiotic, and then if he's elderly, I'd be working on dysbiosis or ask him about dysbiosis. Dysbiosis means messed up. DYS, dys, like dysfunction, means messed up. Biosis means bacteria. Dysbiosis. And you always want to use, in longevity, and I'm always doing this, or I try to anyway, generic terms. So you don't say diabetes, you say dysglycemia. Why? Diabetes is a brand name. You're not allowed to use brand names. They're copyrighted. I can't say Kleenex, but I can say tissues. I can't say diabetes, but I can say dysbiosis. So that whole little spiel that I don't know if you gave it today, but Rebecca does it when I do it.
No, I don't do that.
It's only for entertainment, but we're not just, always ask your doctor. We don't know what we're talking about. We're just a bunch of dummies here. So make sure you ask your doctor. That whole thing that makes me want to vomit every time I hear it. I know you have to say it. I understand that you have to say it. But the point of that is because if you say a disease, I think it's nothing in here is meant to diagnose, treat, or cure. Okay, we're not diagnosing, treating, or curing. We're reversing biochemistry. Does diagnose, treat, and cure, that's copyright. You're not allowed to violate a copyright. Biochemistry, nobody owns. We all own biochemistry. For now, anyway. Who knows what'll happen in the future. But for now, we all own the biochemistry.
Put it out there, Ben.
Reverse. You can say reverse, and you can say dysglycemia, but you can't say diabetes. You can say inflammation, but you can't say multiple sclerosis. You can say the chemistry that's going, that the biochemistry that's happening, but you can't say the brand name. Or at least attribute your products to the brand name.
Very true. Yes,
Okay.
I do put a disclaimer up, but I put it up as a written thing when I put this up there. Because that takes up a lot of time saying all that.
And I know you have to say it,
Well, as long as we put it
world.
somewhere in the thing, and I choose to put it as a written thing for people to read. So
all right.
Was that something else in there, Karen?
No, that's fine. Thank you.
Okie doke. I will take you guys off the share screen. And Lisa, I don't know if you heard Ben asking you to confirm what he was saying.
Oh, absolutely.
I was saying I didn't know if you did Impetigo in your pharmacy at all. If you treated Impetigo.
Well, we certainly have those cases come now and then, but I'm never in a, prescriptive position. And it's not that common really with the older adults.
Not really. It's not that common.
An urban environment. I think it's more common.
I don't think I've ever seen a case of Impetigo in all my years in pharmacy and in skin. All right. So thank you.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you for that. Now, so young Ben, you have the questions in front of you that I sent you.
I have a few. One's about a colonoscopy.
Yes.
Look, a colonoscopy isn't the end of the world, but it's a procedure. And things can happen, but it's rare that anything happens, and you kind of want to know what's going on down there, especially if you have if you suspect or you're eating the wrong foods or you have symptoms. I would definitely do it. I don't see that as being an issue. It says my cousin had one and she died from my cousin
she never had one.
Never had one. Yeah, I would have it checked, especially if you suspect something. Oh yeah, my friend has one side of her face more red than the other side. Is this caused by high blood pressure? Yes, it can be caused. I don't know if it's caused by high blood pressure, but that theoretically high blood pressure can be involved. That changes vascularity under conditions of chronic hypertension. Tissue becomes stiff and blood doesn't flow as effectively. So yeah, it could definitely be that. And it's not typical that things happen more on one side than the other, but I've seen that. That's not unusual. So a couple things. Whenever you have redness, you want to first and foremost look for the immune system. One of the ways the body defends itself, the immune system is the defense system, and one of the ways the body defends itself is by sending the army to the wound or to the place where the enemy is. Right? That's what the immune system is. The immune system is like your defense department, and the white blood cells are and the immune cells. Those are the army. So the defense department sends the army to the area. One of the ways, or the way, not one of the ways, but the way that the army gets sent is through the highways, right?
Yeah.
The highway in the body is the blood. So
Right.
the highway has to be opened. And when you see redness, what you're seeing is an open highway. So that blood cells. So whenever you have redness, think allergic reactions, immune activation of some kind, something that got into the blood that the body is now trying to defend itself from. And so typically in this, if I just had this question, I would say there's something going on in the person's immune system. That's like a synonym for the digestive system, pretty much. The immune system is synonymous with the digestive system. So you'd have to ask this person about their digestive issues, bloating, gas, discomfort. They have all their organs, the whole digestive stuff. That would be the first thing that I would think of. But I would have to see a picture just to know for sure of what it is. It could be something topical too. It could be just a rash, like a irritation from something they're using. I don't know. I'd have to see it to make a quality assessment. But generally speaking, vasodilation and redness are a sign of immune activation. That's A. And then B, high blood pressure changes the way blood vessels, changes the constituency of the blood vessels. They become stiffer and more, they don't move as well. So blood doesn't flow as effectively. Also, for that matter, sticky blood will cause a problem. Glycated blood, it could be a lot of different things. But yes, high blood pressure could be involved, to answer your question.
Very good. And the next question there was, does cayenne
Pepper, awesome. I know he mentioned Baz, cayenne. Oh, but not everybody has a bathtub. That's interesting. All the homes in
So does it have benefits to lower high blood pressure?
Cayenne pepper is great for your heart. I don't know if it'll lower blood pressure. It probably would lower. I'm guessing it probably would lower. I don't know. I don't know about lowering blood pressure. I'm guessing it would, but I don't know for sure. But it's definitely good for the heart. It's very stimulating.
She's talking about that you've mentioned before about baths, having it in a bath.
Baths are great.
Not everyone has a bathtub.
Is that really true? Not everyone has a bathtub?
Well, yeah, you'd be surprised the number of places who don't have bathtubs.
Okay. All right. So you know what else? If you can't take a bath, a warm shower.
Mm.
You don't need a bathtub. A bathtub's great because you immerse, but you can do a warm shower. A warm shower. You can even take a warm washcloth on your face if you want if you're under stress, real quick, or you want a quick way to relax if you're under stress. Take a warm washcloth and put it on your face. Can you picture that? They do that on the plane.
Oh, I've done that.
Yeah. Right? What does that make you feel? Relax. What is that about? Warmth.
Yes.
Vasodilation, relaxation, opens everything up. In fact, check this out. If you're constipated, get in the shower and put the hot water right on your belly. It'll open everything up.
Yeah, see, when I'm feeling a bit stressed or whether constipation or an upset tummy, I actually put a hot water bottle on my tummy.
Yes, exactly.
And relieves it beautifully.
Exactly. So you don't a bath is great because you can immerse and you're back in the womb, basically. But you don't need, have you ever noticed you get great ideas in the shower? Does that ever happen to you?
Oh, yes.
Best ideas.
I like to sing in the shower too.
I have to keep a pad or a recorder near the shower. I have the best ideas. Yeah. And sometimes if I don't motivate to write them down, I get out of the shower, I forget the idea.
Yeah, because it washed down the drain.
In the shower, the blood goes from the back of your brain, your fight or flight reptilian brain, they call it, to the front of your brain, your neocortex, where you make good decisions and choices, and you're creative and you have imagination and foresight, all of that. So hot water is critical for a lot of things. Fertility also, for fertility. Before you want to conceive a baby, take a warm bath.
Very good.
It'll be more for when people are infertile. One of the biggest problems we have, there's a fertility crisis. There's a fertility crisis around the world, right?
Yes.
You know why?
Well, there's been
combination, but lots
of many reasons.
Hormones. Well, there's a lot of reasons. There's SMEP, but spiritual, mental, emotional for sure. But cortisol, stress hormone, will shut down you, keep you from having a baby. Because while you may want to have a baby, your body is like, forget it. We ain't making a baby. You're in no shape to make a baby now. People are silly. They're like, oh, I want a baby. I want a baby. The body says, no, we ain't making you a baby. So we just take drugs and we override it because we're smarter than the body. Also, there are these fake estrogens. Estrogen's birth control, Estrogen estrogen grows a baby, but it doesn't conceive a baby. And we have plastics and perfumes and cosmetic ingredients and preservatives, xenochemicals, foreign chemicals, things in your showers, shower curtains, new car smell, all that stuff acts like estrogen, has the same kind of birth control properties that the natural estrogen hormone has. So the infertility crisis that we have is largely due to hormonal modifications that we can change through our behaviors. Estrogen's a little trickier, but you can still tell the body to stand down. Estrogen's a stress hormone, and by reducing cortisol, you'll reduce some of the impact of these xenoestrogens, and also you'll improve your detoxification of the xenoestrogens because they're eliminated out of the bowels.
Well, there you go, you see?
Yes.
And that wasn't even part of the question.
So relax. I know that wasn't, but
and so we got onto baths and things. So does cayenne pepper have benefits for lowering high blood pressure?
Does what?
So does the cayenne pepper have benefits?
I would, if I had to guess, I would say
how's the best way to have it?
Now, high blood. Say that again. Now about high blood pressure.
The cayenne pepper. So
not canine. Canine's dog. It's not dog. Cayenne.
Okay.
Capsaicin, though. Capsaicin is the active ingredient. Cayenne pepper. Cayenne pepper is hot pepper. You know what it is, right?
Yes, I know it. I know what it is. So does it have any benefits, and how do we best? Because if you just have it, it'll
open everything up.
Well, I've seen people just take spoonfuls of it and then they're choking all over the shop.
Yeah, it's pretty powerful. You don't want to take spoonfuls of it, but just the right amount in a vegetable drink, a vegetable juice, delicious, amazing. Just the right amount. You don't need a lot. And that heat that you feel is vasodilation. It's blood. It's moving your circulation. So yes,
what the niacin does.
Niacin's very similar. Absolutely. Niacin has the same similarity. It has the same kind of idea, same kind of benefits. So they're both great for your heart. They're both great for your blood vessels. But hypertension is a very, very fascinating subject. And I think we've talked about it before, right? I'll talk about it again.
Yes.
All right.
Most
hypertension is said to be essential hypertension. And in this country, 95% or some crazy amount, like the vast majority of it. So what is essential hypertension? Essential high blood pressure is when you hear the word essential, that's the doctor's way of saying it's just you. There's nothing happened. It's just who you are. It's part of your essence. Do you understand? There's another one called essential tremors. Hey, there's no cause. It's just you. It's just who you are. You have essential hypertension. What that basically is telling you is they have no idea.
Yeah.
So there's 95% of the hypertensive cases, they have no idea what causes it. Well, guess what? I'm going to tell you what causes it. So you'll be smarter than your doctor. Okay?
Yes.
You ready? I'm going to tell you exactly what causes essential hypertension. When your blood becomes sludgy, remember, it's all about the blood. When your blood becomes sludgy, hypercoagulated, hyperviscous in response to toxicity, all of it is always toxicity in the blood. When your blood becomes sludgy and sticky, it doesn't circulate effectively. And so tissues don't get oxygen. They don't get nutrition. They don't detoxify because the blood is doing all this. So all of a sudden, let's take your lungs. Your lungs are not getting perfused. They're not getting blood. No blood, that means no oxygen. No oxygen, that means no or no blood, that means no nutrition. That means toxicity. It's a big problem. The brain is constantly reading all of the organs, all the body to see what's going on. It's your master center, and it senses. There's sensors, pressure sensors, and oxygen sensors, and nutrient sensors, and it reads the sensors. And the sensors say, "Hey, there's not enough blood coming to the lungs. There's not enough nutrition, not enough oxygen. There's too much acid. There's too much acid. It's not being detoxified, etc." The brain reads it, and so guess what the brain does? Turns up the pressure. The high blood pressure that is essential is the body's adaptive response to the lack of oxygen, the lack of nutrition, the lack of perfusion. You know what I mean when I say perfusion? Perfusion means how much blood is getting to the area, the lack of perfusion. And so when we have essential hypertension, that's our body adjusting. And so what do? Our genius medical model. What do?
They just stick it on something.
Poison the system to force the blood vessels open, to drop the pressure. Exactly the opposite of what the brain wants to do. Exactly the opposite of what the body's trying to accomplish here. And then we have something that goes wrong with our lungs or with our liver or with our spleen or with our organs that now are not getting pressure because of the beta blocker or the vasodilator or whatever it was we're taking, and we don't make the connection. We just think we just got another disease. We don't make the connection between the lack of perfusion, the lack of blood that's getting to the organs, which is why you gotta clean the blood. Always. It's always about the blood. Blood, 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 blood. You clean the blood, you nutriate the blood, you liquefy the blood, and it all starts at the intestine. And injection is a problem these days too, and you got to be careful about that, of course. And any knucklehead healthcare professional or government person who says you have to inject this, they're abusing you at the most fundamental level there is, which is your holy sacred blood.
Yes. There's actually laws against that, but no one seems to take them up on it. No.
Against forcing you to, inject things into your body?
Yes, it's a form of rape.
Yeah, exactly. You're being assaulted. Your sanctity of your body is being assaulted. That is evil.
It is very evil.
It's evil.
Especially when they are forcing parents to, here in Australia,
kids, that's the worst. Absolutely. Your precious little,
they give them no financial help.
Precious, as clean as babies are and children are, they're so clean. They haven't yet been poisoned, and now you're going to start them off that way.
Straight from birth. That's actually a question I have. The straight from birth here in Australia, as soon as they inject them.
Straight from birth. Straight from birth.
It's just crazy. Okay, so the next question. Do you have that there?
What's that? You want to know some supplements for cleaning the blood? We should probably tell you some of those.
Number 4, it's on your list. Number 4 from Michelle.
Number 4 from Michelle. Hi, Bronwyn. Come out of the hospital. Acute pancreatitis, digestive issues. Yes, probiotics. Probiotics can be, you got to be careful because there's a very important relationship between the pancreas and the intestine. And so people have pancreatitis, acute pancreatitis, almost guaranteed, next to impossible. I'd say it's impossible for her not to have dysbiosis. Remember, dys means dysfunctional, biosis means bacteria. So once you have dysbiosis, SIBO, disturbances in the bacteria that's severe enough to cause pancreatic issues and other issues, you have to be very careful. I would start them off on the ultimate microbiome, the fiber. Start them off on that and see how they do before you give them a bunch of probiotics at first. Probiotics can conceivably be a problem for somebody who has pancreatitis, theoretically. So, and probiotics in general, if you have dysbiosis, can be a problem. Sometimes people will take probiotics and they'll say, "Oh, I feel worse." And that's usually a sign that they have SIBO, which is why, by the way, now I think about it, Bronie, have her take I-26. Have this gal, you know what the I-26 is, right?
Yes, I do.
Yes, I-26. That's what I would be using.
Here somewhere.
Right
Yes.
here, 26.
We have it in
Lots
all
of stuff.
forms here down under. Now,
Can you get it down under?
yes, we have it in all forms. We have it in the chewable, we have it in the capsules, and we have it in the powder.
Okay.
So, which is pretty cool. So there's a way for everyone. Now, I know we touched on the fifth question from Gracie last week, but you had mentioned that you would prefer to expand on that at the time. That was the one we did just before. So that's number 5 on your sheet.
From Gracie, osteophyx makes her bones sore. Yeah. Also her test showed her body makes too much calcium in the doctor. Okay, there's a lot here, a lot to unpack here. First of all, when somebody says something, I'm a mechanism guy. I need to see a mechanism. There has to be a way. If somebody says, every time I open the door, I get a headache, I'm like, well, there's no mechanism. No, I get a headache. I can't argue with you. If you get a headache every time you open the door, I can't say, no, that's not true. You know that's true. But there's no mechanism.
Yeah.
Oh, every time I drop my wallet, there's thunder. There's no connection. There's no connection there. So I'm not disputing her experience. She has that experience. I'm not disputing that experience. So, but I can't, there's no mechanism for that. So I can't really address it. If that's her experience, that's her experience. There's no way I can explain how that happens any more than I could tell you every time, every time I drop the wallet, the toilet flushes upstairs. There's no connection anywhere. So I can't help you with that. However, the other stuff is kind of interesting. Bodies don't make too much calcium. The bodies don't make calcium. So let's get that out of, I don't know what he means by that. I'm going to assume that was a misunderstanding on the patient's part, because no doctor would say something like the body makes too much calcium. However, what can happen is calcium can leach out of the bones, and that can raise blood calcium, and then the body will deposit that calcium in different places. However, it's important to recognize that you don't just take calcium and it goes into your body. It is tightly regulated. Calcium is the body's activating element. It's not a mineral, it's an element. We call it a mineral, but it's an element. And it activates cells. It makes cells do things. And so it is tightly regulated and tightly controlled. And the vast majority of calcium in the body is stashed away. It's not in the blood. It's stored because it's so powerful. And there's all kinds of chemistry that's involved in determining whether calcium gets into the blood. Vitamin D is involved, magnesium is involved, thyroid hormone is involved, parathyroid hormone is involved, intestinal receptors are involved. There's so many different places where calcium is tightly controlled. You don't just take calcium and it goes into your blood. So I'm not surprised that an integrative doctor would say that, because they're not really chemists. There's biochemistry and there's clinical chemistry. Clinical chemistry is what clinicians do, like integrative doctors, and they read test scores and they'll tell you, what they learned in medical school about what vitamin to take or what supplement to do or what medicine, whatever. But they're not able to manipulate the chemistry because they're not chemists, they're not biochemists, they're clinical chemists. So from a biochemistry perspective, you don't just take calcium and it goes into your blood. That's not how it works. So that's first of all. So secondly, when he says she makes too much calcium, you don't make calcium. It's an element on the periodic table. You don't make it. However, under certain conditions, calcium will come out of the bones. Why would that be? Well, calcium neutralizes acid. It's a buffer. It's a neutralizing element. So when your blood pH drops, your blood pH, you know what I mean when I say pH, right? Acid level. Your blood acid level has to be not acid. It has to be alkaline, just slightly alkaline. If it drops, one of the ways the body will raise the pH is by releasing calcium out of the bones. So a major cause of elevated calcium, is the body attempting to neutralize the blood, to get the blood pH back to where it needs to be. Then that calcium can get deposited. in tissues, in various tissues, and that's calcification. And that's actually one of the ways that the body dies. We calcify, we turn to stone. So calcification is a thing, but it's not because you're taking too much calcium. It's because your metabolism is off. Taking too much calcium is not the problem. So whether she needs calcium or not, I can't tell you the answer to that, but if she is going to use calcium, make sure she gets vitamin K, make sure she gets vitamin D, make sure she gets magnesium, make sure she gets all her minerals from her Beyond Tangy Tangerine, essential fats, all of it. You don't want to just take calcium. So calcium is extremely important. Most people are not going to be deficient in calcium. It's so important that the body makes sure that you have calcium. Like I say, it's in your bones. It's stored in your bones. So you got plenty of calcium. So I'm not having too much calcium is not really a problem. Having calcium released and then calcifying tissue, that's more of a problem. Did you want to say something?
Can I jump in here? Because I am going through this exact thing with my rheumatologist. She's telling me I have to do a 24-hour urine test for her next week. She tests
Why?
me every year because she says I'm urinating out all this calcium. She doesn't want me taking calcium.
Well, urinating calcium could be a kidney problem. You may have a kidney issue. I don't know if you have a kidney issue. That's one thing.
No.
Then it has to do with vitamin D and parathyroid hormone, and that's really where you want to be.
Yes, I have.
Yeah,
okay.
yeah. That's what I'm saying is when you're releasing calcium is resorbed. It comes back in the kidneys, and that's one of the it recycles. There's mechanisms in place because you got to keep the calcium in the blood. Calcium is very, very important in the blood. So the kidneys will suck it back into the blood. But if you don't have the right hormonal thing going on, and very likely parathyroid issues or vitamin D issues, maybe the calcium won't get resorbed; it'll get excreted, and that's where you're at probably. But it's not going to cause a deficiency in calcium necessarily, but it could be a sign that you've got some hormone issues going on, and that's not unusual. Did she tell you about the parathyroid or check it or anything?
I've got Hashimoto's.
Oh, you have Hashimoto's. That's your thyroid, and that's also involved for sure. But the parathyroids are specific for calcium and vitamin D. They make a hormone that keeps calcium absorbed. And so it might have to do with your parathyroid. You know what I'm saying? The parathyroid is not the thyroid. The parathyroid is associated with the thyroid. Para means next to. Parathyroid. That's a different gland.
Yeah.
And but the thyroid's involved also. If you have hypothyroidism, that's going to also have an impact on how well you're processing calcium. You may have some metabolic syndrome issues. Now, when I talk about clinical chemistry, the reason that's important is because your rheumatologist she's not going to backtrack and see all the different chemical interactions. She's going to see the end, and she's going to try to control the end, right? That's not how you do health, and that's why health doesn't work. Because you can't just do the end. You got to see the whole map. And that's a chemist sees the whole map. All the pathways, how everything's interacting. She's just looking at the end, and she's helping at the end. Now, in fairness, sometimes that keeps you alive. And like I've said, I probably said this on another program or another episode of ours. The doctor's job is to keep you alive, not to keep you thrive, not to help you thrive, just to keep you alive. She doesn't care about you thriving.
I want to thrive.
What, you want to thrive. You don't want to just be alive.
Sue is new, Ben. So give her all the help you can. So she's very new.
Yeah. Oh, you're very new. Okay. Where are you from?
So I'm from Chicago. I came over with the YGY Easy Eats. The company I was with went away, and we came over.
How long have you been doing longevity? How long?
Few months. Just a few months.
And have you been on? How did you get on the call?
Because
I saw it posted in the group, and I liked the topic, and so I knew I was spinning my wheels with my.
How do you like all the stuff we're talking about? Then this is the first time.
I felt like you were speaking to me directly last week. It was awesome.
That's awesome.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's funny because I am speaking to you directly because we're all kind of the same. Our bodies break down in these generic ways. And we're always thinking, this is just me and this is special. And no, our bodies break down generically. And it's all the blood and the gut and the metabolic system, the blood sugar system and the thyroid and the adrenal glands. In fact, Sue, I have a thing I call the triangle of disease. You may have heard me talk about the triangle of disease. It's 3 points.
She hasn't been here long enough to hear you say that.
Okay, you haven't. You should get on, Sue, if you have a chance, get on my next call, which is in about 10 minutes, and we talk about the
will.
triangle of disease. That's if you go to Critical Health News, you've ever been to Critical Health News?
Not yet, but I
Go
will.
to Critical Health News and you'll find us. And we're going to talk about the triangle.
She can find them all on my YouTube channel under my podcasts. All the recordings are there.
Yeah, we're all over. Sue, we're dedicated to helping you understand this. That's our whole mission, is to help you understand how this whole thing works and how
you changed my brain last week. I went and ordered because I was just doing the BTT. I wouldn't do the calcium, and I'm on thinners, so I wouldn't do the omegas. But after listening to you last Monday, I went and ordered the health and heart and
Healthy brain and
heart pack. Yeah. Awesome. And you live in Chicago now?
Yeah.
You're calling for Chicago? Okay, that's awesome. My daughter went to school in Chicago. I used to go there all the time. I would go there 4 or 5 times a year. What a wild place Chicago is.
Yeah,
that's a crazy place. And I'm from New York, so that's saying something. All right.
Well, thank you.
All right, let's do.
I actually want to say a big thank you to you, Ben, for giving us this extra time. And see, this is why we love you coming on, because of people like Sue and Karen.
Okay,
has
fair enough.
People in her room all the time. So it's good for us to have you. We prefer on a regular basis, but if you can only do once a month, we will forgive you.
Okay. This is a 3-hour. I do a show before, I do this, and then I do a show after. It's a lot of talking, man. At the end of I can't even stand my own voice. I don't know how to.
Well,
I don't want to hear my voice anymore.
But anyway, we'll let you get off so you're not caught up.
All right, that's good. Thank you, Sue.
So,
Lisa, good to see you. Yvonne, Marie, Karen, and team. Bye, everybody. See you in a month.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, Ben. We much appreciate it.
Kevin on today. Look, Kevin. Hang on. See, Kevin's there. Better say a quick hello to Kevin.
Yes, he was quiet this whole time.
Oh, I know.
Hi. Hey,
all right.
Nice to see you. You're looking good.
Love what you got
Kevin.
to say. You bring good balance to what we say down here, and you qualify people like myself and Karen and all other people who have been using Youngevity for a long time, and we're out here sharing Dr. Wallach's story. You come and qualify it for us.
I appreciate that, and I want everybody to recognize Kevin over here. Kevin is a very, very skilled healer, and you're very fortunate to have him down under. And I would trust him with anything. Kevin, you do a great job. Thank you so much.
Yeah, we love him.
Follow the same road as you. Thank you. Cheers. Bye for now.
All right. So as I ask you all nicely here in Bronie's world, to stay safe, stay informed, be empowered, but do not live in fear, my friends. And when you are following the triangle of disease, the 3 things, then you too will be powerful, beautiful, brilliant, and most definitely very brave. God bless you all. Catch you again tomorrow here in Bronie's world. And thank you all for coming. Lovely to see you all. And
bye.